Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, June 29th, 2023. I'm Rochelle Batiste with the details. The Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center in Georgetown is celebrating 5 years of operation and service to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. At a celebratory breakfast today, the Deputy Hospital Administrator at the center, Idinga Miller Walker, says a number of Vincentians have been able to access services at the facility over the last 5 years, including dialysis.
Within the hemodialysis department, we have worked tirelessly over the years, upgrading our services, starting with only 7 hemodialysis machines to now having 20 of those same machines. We have been empathetic to the patients and their needs, and we have removed all charges, all fees, dialysis treatment, providing the services Monday to Saturday each week. We have maintained the 24-hour accident and emergency services. Thanks to Consul General Fitzhuggins, we are now able to provide chemotherapy to several patients simultaneously. We have transformed waiting areas, office spaces into treatment rooms. We have upgraded our services to add that of hematology, internal medicine, gynecology. Our operating theater, which was designed for lumps and bumps, have been performing major and emergency services and procedures. Ladies and gentlemen, we have worked hard over the years and we are proud of our achievements, but we could not have done it without you. Each and every one of you here this morning played a significant role to us being here today celebrating our 5 and alive.
From only being able to accommodate 1 chemotherapy session at any given time, the facility now accommodates up to 6 chemotherapy patients at any given time. On the MRI services, which will soon be offered at the facility, a first for SVG, Hospital Administrator Dr. Grace Walters says over the last 5 years, at least 71 persons have requested assistance to travel overseas to seek MRI services.
Perfect place for our patients. The Modern Diagnostic Center have stood the test of time and service. Over the last 5 years, the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center have played major roles in the way hospital services have responded to the needs of the Vincentian populace. It has facilitated not only the decentralization, but also the extension of services. In the last 5 years, we've received requests for assistance to travel abroad for MRIs from about 71 persons. We have received 8 so far for the year, and that is just for assistance with finances and other arrangements. That's just what comes to MCMH.
Walter says with the support of the Prime Minister and friendship of the Mario Holder Trust, the local health system has responded to the needs of the Vincentian public with many new services offered at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center.
As we have installation of X-ray units at the Levi Latham Health Center, the Buckerman Polyclinic, and in the near future, we'll soon have X-ray units in Chateaubelair and on Beckwith. At the Modern Medical, at the MCMH, there have been upgrades in the CT scan, where we now have a 64-slice CT scan unit. We have an ultrasound scan machine with capabilities to perform echocardiograms. We have a fluoroscopy unit, a mammography unit that has the capabilities to do interventional mammography. And as of last week, we have an additional C-arm for use in the operating theater. And now, at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center, with the upgrade of our digital X-ray machine, which was installed about 2 months ago, we're now adding the MRI unit.
Today's event also saw the unveiling of the new MRI machine and the MRI unit.
MRI uses no radiation. And I put this paragraph as I felt compelled as a clinician to say this little part. The MRI uses no radiation, thus it is safe. It is a safe diagnostic procedure which is particularly suited for non-bony parts of the body and is the modality of choice when frequent imaging is required for diagnosing and treating, especially for conditions of the brain. It provides clear images of soft tissue structures and other imaging modalities that other imaging modalities cannot provide. Therefore, we expect that the care of our patients will improve, especially among patients diagnosed with disorders of the brain, including spinal cord compression and injury. This is something to celebrate.
And Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Sinclair Jimmy Prince, says that the launching of the MRI service at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center today is historic for the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, noting that there has been persistent clamor for this service over the years. Minister Prince says the installation and subsequent operation of the MRI machine is one way in which the country is responding to the changes in the health environment globally.
Over the years. And today I am honored to participate in a ceremony to formally commission this machine, which will make a difference in the lives of all Vincentians. When we consider that we had to travel overseas to access this service, at considerable cost and inconvenience, we can be doubly happy that we now have this facility at this wonderful complex here in Georgetown, right at our doorsteps, so to speak. I am sure that the health workers who provide care and those clients who will receive that care are all excited about this additional and more modern diagnostic tool now available to us. This new development is yet another initiative in our quest to revolutionize the health system here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines by expanding it, upgrading it, and modernizing it, at the same time making it more equitable and resilient. Just last month, we were here to open the Georgetown Smart Hospital, and that's an upgrade in our primary health care thrust that cost in the region of $4 million. A few weeks ago, we launched the IDB-CDB Resilience and Response Project. Though it points specifically to COVID-19, it has a broader application. That is to a cost of $12 million. At the end of May, a team headed by Dr. Hiran Patel, an acclaimed neurosurgeon from the USA, completed a neurosurgery mission here. He performed 10 neurosurgeries and evaluated over 75 patients, amounting to $2.5 million of care to Vincentians.
Minister Prince says the government for a while now has been strengthening the Ministry of Health diagnostic capabilities and that the country is more equipped to handle the diagnostic demands.
By improving and upgrading our imaging and laboratory capability. Right now we offer varying levels of X-ray and ultrasound services at major facilities around the country. And you've heard already from Dr. Grace of the number of facilities, the number of equipment which we have in this regard. Gone are the days when these services were centralized in Kingstown. Our greater thrust in primary health care brings with it a decentralization of services. And never before in the history of health services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines has there been such a decentralization of such a service in this country. So you've heard before that apart from Milton Cato Memorial Hospital and this Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center, we can get x-rays done at Levi Latham Health Complex in Mesopotamia and also at Bucament. And we're trying to do that at Stubbs and Chateaubelair. We're now building a facility in Beckway to do that on that island. And these services under this health revolution are being demystified and becoming more accessible to the Vincentian population. At the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, you have heard of the number of activities which take place there with respect to radiology, etc. I won't go over them. We have upgraded the X-ray at Modern Medical Diagnosis Center to digital. So this MRI machine that we are formally commissioning today is at the apex of our imaging services. It has been long in coming, but the fact that it has come now demonstrates government's commitment to healthcare investment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
In other news now, we hear that the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force continues its Crime Prevention Week of activities with an appeal for members of the public to help the police with crime fighting. Sergeant Kasaki Hakwao said that in recent times, murders are being committed execution style, which instills a level of uneasiness in the society, which can result in fear and the reluctance of community members to provide information to police that can be vital in solving some of these cases. Sergeant Kwao and Sergeant Stephen Billy were discussing the topic, building resilient communities through crime prevention on the Cop Chat program on WFM today.
Time where a particular area, maybe the Redemption Shops area where crime are prevalent, or the Green Hill area, once crime are being committed there on a frequent basis, you may find the neighborhood start to go in to the homes at night more earlier. The other ordinary man who have his liquor and provision shops who may open until about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, once business is bright. They tend to close up 5 and 6 because crime are being committed in that particular area. Mm-hmm. So some of these members of society, law-abiding citizens, will have information which they can share to the police, but because of fearfulness, they are being reluctant in coming forward. Mm-hmm. Because they believe if they come forward, their life will be in danger somehow or the other.
Sergeant Billy and Sergeant Kwao each outlined some of the causes of criminal activities in the society today, which they say include poverty and the lack of a father figure in household.
The problem we are having, we have groups which people may classify as gang, and members of these groups may involve themselves in selling drugs, and another group might be in a particular area selling drugs as well, and they then start a turf war so that they can obtain the market in different areas in St. Vincent so that they could sell their drugs. Another thing is that rivalry, old rivalry. These are things are taking place where if members of groups are not, once they're in rivalry and you may catch a member off guard in a particular area, they tend to say, okay, then we have him now. We can kill this individual because of rival between groups. Mm-hmm. And some of these killings are senseless. Sometimes when we investigate these matters, the motive behind them, we don't see any strong motive, reason for killing. And that poses a problem.
So you will find that once there's a breakdown in the level of discipline and guide activities, so some of these things that as parents, as adults, as society as a whole, and the sergeant mentioned that society are sometimes fearful to come forward because of the heinous crimes that are being committed. But some of the time, society is the one that champions these same criminals. If you look at social media, from time to time, when the police is trying to interject, trying to execute their duties, and you will see and you will hear what society says in terms of, and then these criminals feel emboldened because they feel they have the support of society. Right? And then these same, we, in our own homes now, we are afraid, and then we saw this with an act, what are the police doing? What is the government doing? But what is the society doing? What are we doing as a society? We can't just sit idly by and throw our hands up in the air and say, oh, there's nothing we can do. We must take a stand against criminal and criminal activities.
As the carnival season kicks into high gear from this weekend, Sergeant Kwao said the RSVG police force continues to urge citizens to pay attention to the crime prevention tips.
Coming into Kingston and you're taking along your children, advise those persons to please supervise your children and don't leave them to stray away from you. Educate your children that if that happens, that the first police officer in uniform, they will go and report, well, I can't find my mother, and so forth, and give any relevant information pertaining to the parents. Our concern is those persons who are coming into town who are holders of firearm license. In the past, it posed problem for us where holders of firearms lost the firearms. And there are different ways in which this may occur. We will not advise a person who have a firearm, a licensed firearm, to lock the firearm into their vehicle and park the vehicle in an area which they may term as safe. No. If you're attending a show, say in the Victoria Park area, there will be a mobile station opposite the main entrance gate. What is expected of you is to log your firearm to the police who are on duty there. They will keep a record, they will hold the firearm for you, you attend your show, and then it will be returned to you. Because we have too much of firearms out there.
And the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force today launched an Android digital mobile application to aid members of the traffic department in real time to view and verify driver's license and vehicle registration already in the system. At the launching ceremony today inside the conference room of the police headquarters in capital Kingston, NCO in charge of the IT department of the RSVG Police Force, Sergeant Sian Choi, says the Android mobile application will enable officers to access the database in a fast-paced manner.
We at the IT department understand the use of technology plays a critical role in modern policing. We have to find innovative ways to use new technologies as tools in order to improve communication and public safety. We are also happy that more and more departments of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force are gradually modernizing their day-to-day operation by using new technologies. This Android mobile application is an electronic database of driver's licenses and motor vehicle registration across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The data that is organized in such a way so that information within can be easily accessed later using portable devices. That you see, we have some lovely Samsung tablet that was donated to us. Very grateful for that donation. For example, let us say the traffic department or the officers are doing stop and search operation and would like to verify information stated on the driver license or motor vehicle registration. With this mobile application, the officers will be able to view and verify existing information on the driver's licenses and vehicle registration in real time on a portable device. This new system will certainly reduce wait times and make crime solving a little easier for the police.
And Commissioner of Police Colin John says with the advanced technology system, the RSVG Police Force will intensify its stop and search operations during the carnival season to ensure persons are not driving unregistered motor vehicles.
Checks to ensure that when persons go to their various events, that they go there to enjoy themselves, not to cause any harm or any danger to anyone. So we will be intensifying our searches for weapons, ammunition. We will also making sure that vehicles are licensed and insured, because ever so often we have persons getting into accidents, and when you check, they're unlicensed, they are uninsured. Or you may find someone getting into an accident and then they running out from the scene. When you check the vehicle is unlicensed or uninsured. So with the increased stress, that would help to deter persons who would want to engage in those unlawful practices. The St. Vincent Police Force, we are embracing technology. We are ensuring that we stay as modern and as current as possible.
Software developer Syrian Cyrus gave an insight into the development process of the mobile application.
The application was developed natively using a software called Android Studio. It has different cloud platforms working in the background, along with desktop application which we made in-house. The data is received from the inland department and it's fed to the app. But I'm going to go in with the technical details of the development. This mobile app was tailored to the needs of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force, making use of existing equipment and data at their disposal, all while taking into the cultural context of St. Vincent and Grenadines. Now that last part is very important as it was necessary to create something that meshes well with existing systems and protocols while drastically improving efficiency. I'm sure that this app would be put to good use by the officers of the Royal St. Vincent Police Force as they carry out their daily duties to increase efficiency and effectiveness.
After extensive consultation and deliberation, former members of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard Service have created an association. The association goals are to assist the SVG Coast Guard Service wherever possible, offer aid to its members when needed, and participate in activities that improve the social life of its members. On June 13, 2023, an election was held to select an executive to handle the association affairs for the next 2 years. The elected executive is as follows: President Norris Stewart, Vice President Jerome Dick, Secretary Brenton Kane, Treasurer Aaron Francois, PRO Kenneth Scarrett, committee members Ralph Liverpool, Tyrone John. The association says it seeks to collaborate closely with the SVG Coast Guard Service, providing its services as needed and supporting the development of the organization. In other local news now, we hear that the St. Vincent Grammar School will be offering agriculture science to its students as part of the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC curriculum in the new academic year. This is being made possible through a signing of a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between the Zero Hunger Trust Fund and the school. The MOU was signed on Monday, June 26, by Headmaster of the St. Vincent Grammar School, Hugh Collins Sam, and Director Chief Executive Officer of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, Sophia Horn DeBeek. Sam indicated that there's been discussions about offering the subject at the school for some time now and welcomed the implementation phase. He expressed gratitude to the Zero Hunger Trust Fund for embracing the idea, adding that agriculture science will have a permanent space in the school's curriculum. The headmaster also noted that over 100 students selected agriculture science as their subject for the new academic year. Meanwhile, Horn de Beek said the Zero Hunger Trust Fund is pleased to mark the inauguration of the agricultural science program for the St. Vincent Grammar School. She said the occasion is significant as it symbolizes the re-engaging of students of the St. Vincent Grammar School in one of the most important sectors of our economy. She expressed gratitude to the St. Vincent Brewery Limited for supporting the initiative through the Vital Malt brand. The Zero Hunger Trust Fund director said, given the government's commitment and goal internationally, regionally, and nationally to achieve food security and food sovereignty, it is recognized that youth participation in agriculture is crucial. Meanwhile, Minister of Agriculture Saboto Caesar, who also addressed the signing ceremony on Monday, said he is happy that the St. Vincent Grammar School saw it fit to bring together a platform for students to participate in the agricultural industry. He also pledged his ministry's commitment to make the program a success. Caesar said the initiative prepares students to contribute to the agriculture industry at a time when the SVG tourism product is expanding through the construction and opening of a number of new hotels. The signing was witnessed by Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Michael Burke. Welcome to Carnival Beat this evening. We hear that, noting that like many Caribbean people, he too is a carnival lover. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on radio yesterday says he regrets that the demands are made by some of the artists who choose to boycott the Soca and Raga Soca Monarch competitions this year, and the inability of the Carnival Development Corporation to meet their demands could not have been reconciled.
Sorry that there was not a meeting of the minds. But I want to tell them I have nothing but admiration for these young men and women who are making their requests or demands. But I was just hoping that there would have been a resolution now.
Right.
Because we have to keep in mind the large strategic picture. Look, we just came out of COVID and volcanic eruptions, you know. We all have to be accommodating. We all have to be accommodating without in any way sort of renouncing what you consider yourself to be reasonable. You understand what I mean?
The mass competition in Vinci Mass is back this year after being impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic over the last 3 years. President of the Mass Bands Association, Hugh Raggi, at the CDC News conference yesterday, said 12 mass bands will be competing in the competition, and they have promised to present their best.
There is a 13th non-competitive band called Energy, and it is led by a veteran mass man. This will be his first effort in terms of forming and bringing to the theatrical spectacle his own ideas in terms of Vinci Mass. So on Saturday, come Junior Carnival, our children, the people's children, are going to be in their costumes. They will parade through the streets of Kingston to Victoria Park. And after crossing the stage, they will re-enter the big road and parade from Victoria Park to their respective locations.
Outlining the challenges that mass bands face every year, Raggi commended the mass band leaders for their faithfulness.
The fact that producing a section to compete in the sections from the bands is no easy matter. It takes tremendous outlay of financial resources. And you want to put your best. Unfortunately, it's not always possible for a designer to want to put out his best for a product that's going to cost $35,000 to $40,000 for a return of $3,000 in prize monies. So it is. Mass. I recall the late Shaggy John telling me so many years ago about where we were in terms of the cost in producing a presentation for the Mardi Gras stage. And it is costly.
Bragg said what he would like to see in Vincy Mass is the return of more traditional mass.
I'm hoping that the traditional mass could return. And I hear noises in that direction. And when I mention traditional mass, I'm talking about the Indian, the African, the original type of mass. We won't have any traditional mass in Mardi Gras this year. What we would have is the contemporary creative mass. And by that I mean this is a type of mass which emerged from the post-1972 era and which has continued down to this day. It is the mass you see displayed by Nelson Block. That used to be displayed by dragons, SVG players, and others.
That was Carnival Beat this evening at the end of